Thomas Scott, Tyrell Corson, Josh Pippin, Ethan Eames, Aidan Seaton, Joe McDonald, Max Bettinger. For Adamstown, Callum Manley, Callum Lawrence, Regan Payne, Joseph Lister, Chandra Bryant, Dean Pettit, Anthony Wood, Harrison Trendo, Darcy Hall, Glenn Goodman, Daniel Drew, Andrew Essen, Dane Lauber, Bo Short, Dan Hessener. Mike Postman.
Potatoes means come rescue me. Cafe Pub. All right. Can you get my bottle and my jacket, please?
Back out!
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. I used to play. Played in our ADs came back right.
Just what you like, sorry. Sorry, I'm just going to drop this down. Maybe 1 sec. Thanks. Just in case.
The captain gave one goal back to them. We were 2-1 and they equalized 2-2 and then they put a young goal.
So Adamstown leads 1-1.
And everything. Beat everybody in the because he was really another one that was tight and took on them beautiful. The last goal was not good. And one goal from the goal. Number 7 is just definitely yeah, well, right in the corner. But to be honest, every time the game is people there all the time, you know. As soon as touching, they try to get a free. They don't give you any more free. That's it. Yes. I don't know if the right line or like. Every now and then he pull out. But they did say 19. Oh, today. He killed it. He loses all every time again. Oh, this could be it. From all of people, it's right. I don't know exactly that. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. He works with nephew. I see him all the time in Montana. I don't ever see him. He's there all the time.
It's like a reunion.
He's an electrician. They work as an electrician anyhow. That's what I think they work. They asked me, hey, do you think this is like it?
Say this for you.
Yeah, very good game that night. You was good. That night, the midfield and the back lines were beautiful. The front, it was very good. They saw the dog. But then the last 15 minutes, now one of them is flying. Right, left and down. Then he put another flag along with the other flag. I saw him with that. See that last night with a bad brand down oh my, what a brand. Bloody. It's a fly when you go in, you can't take the feet off. She said, you can't kill that boys. You're coming up to the line, the rest of the line. Again, like that. I don't know if there would be fly again. I don't know if they're going to fly again. They have to do something because it's terrible. He didn't say, Mike. Sorry. What do you think? Where's your boss? Is he here today?
No, he's back at the office.
Right?
He's back at the office. He's at the other end of what I'm doing.
I worked on one of his car last week.
Did you?
Yeah. done. That's the way you do it. That's the defense of it. I was not here last week. It was a big
There was a whole drama about that.
yeah, what's the name there again?
One of the boys ended up in my head.
With Mike.
And then
Dry. No beautiful Don't tell him in English, mate. Wait. Huh? He's very, very eccentric boy. He's only human, mate. I don't even know. Oh, you! My God! Head down, son. Head every minute of it. I couldn't wait to came outside of that. I went to that's how it was. There's 25 I don't suppose they might, well, that's what it might be. I'm going down. That's what he said.
good job.
Which I remember.
It's it, like 5.
Little, you know, but then we fit it out too, you know what I mean?
There was a maid, and it was like, stop trying to cut out shit. It was like this cheerleading night. They did it up. I didn't like the job because it was like was it worth the time, right? I got what I want.
Myself.
Hey.
Do you have any mics with you today?
No, I don't. Should I have?
That's way, mate. That's a very good ball. On now.
Thank you.
I remember when Fox Alderman lost the game. Oh my, he done more fouls.
My inputs, no, my mic would fit in, so I'm getting my brother to bring him up. So, yeah, yep, yeah.
I am a girl at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you resign, you're still here. Hello, young man.
Oh, no.
Are you still here? Hello?
Oh, what was that? Oh, really?
Well, what do you do?
No, well, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. But it's not. No, it's not your fault either. You know, it's just that's what happens. But it's still frustrating. Well, I'm getting my brother to bring my mic. Okay, cheers. Thanks. Yeah.
Lost it.
Did you get on the loop? Only one. Alright.
Got you, Mike. Did you put the reply of the game
Hello? Where about what's that? Well, they're in the far right cupboard. Do you know where that is? Okay, we'll just get one.
Yeah, it was
Just headphones. Just grab the microphone.
after the
just getting the microphone brought up, so I'm pretty confident that'll fit in. So.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know
No, that's alright. I think it must have been a miscommunication. We told Brendan, but he mustn't have passed on the message, so that's alright. No worries at all.
Sorry about that. Just for my reference, are you going into this mic or the XLR?
We'd go to input 1, I'd say. Is that alright?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
You already give up. Come on, you can do a bit better than that.
Yeah, she's standing up, pink and grey skirt on the tree. It's quite hard.
But when they put a young boy or anything. On the screen, bang, bang, click off like that. It's unbelievable. The commentators, get beat a lot in here.
When you buy them in the trial? Yeah.
Did you want me to move something, sir?
I'm Chris.
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Brianna.
Hi, Rihanna. You okay?
Yeah.
Did you talk to Brendan before?
I haven't had a chance to get on to him just yet because I was filming that day.
You said that a family member passed away today?
Yeah.
That's not something. You're right.
Thanks. You know I'm good.
If you want a break and you want me to jump on, no dramas.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Don't know what I'm doing, but
No, I should be
it
fine.
doesn't make any
once I'm
difference
in,
either way. Hello, Johnny.
What do you do with these girls in here? You always know everybody, mate. What are you going to do with you, mate? Nice, mate. I've been good. I went to Melbourne last week and I didn't know if they play house. I looked like only one game they can play. Adamstown with Magic. That's nobody else can play. That's what's dry, it's dry, it's nothing. I was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I come back on Monday. I can't tell you now. Got a job, it's 3 years there. Running horse and rices too, they were on the chair, they would have the coffee.
Alright, here we go. The moment of truth. Sorry, what was your name?
Brianna.
Brianna. Ben, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is our CT.
He just introduced himself.
And his girlfriend is pregnant. We have what they call that? Baby cake. No, really, that's the first one. Oh, well, I got 7 grandkids. That one will be great grandkids. That's my daughter. Must be our.
Here we go.
78. I would have been in jail, I would have come in through.
It's the moment of truth. Testing, testing. They're coming through. I was just thinking. Oh no, that won't go. I don't think it's got the small plug in. No, that's alright. I'll leave it. Yeah, I think there is. I must. It must be slide on. I'll shove that in there. No, it's alright. That's fine. No, that's
I know one of them plays here.
It's going to be a little bit more agricultural. Yesterday was working for Fox, so it's all. So it's good to come back and do, do the old local sport. Hey, CT, I was just thinking, so we've got no headphones, just one mic. Yesterday, doing the stuff for Fox, it's all. I actually think that this would be good fun. Coming back, just doing an agricultural recording.
I never use a microphone. I mean headset.
Oh yeah, so it's normal.
Big promoter today, right?
Yeah. This is like it used to be in the first year. I don't think we got headphones in the first. Yeah, it's working. The levels, hard to work with.
You're definitely coming through, and it's not peaking, so that's at least one thing.
Okay. Wait till CT starts yelling. No, you'll be right. So no Adamstown players have played for Charlestown. Yeah. Alright. Here we go. Well, do you want to hold one of these? Oh, yeah. All right. Hey Brianna, when are we good to go? Like,
Generally, it is
okay, we go over. Yeah, that's right. Testing, testing. Just making sure. That's up to all right. Good afternoon and welcome to Lyle Carr Oval in Whitebridge this afternoon for round 5 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And while it's getting to the stage now where Adamstown Rosebud must stem the steady flow of defeats and haul themselves from second last on the NPL ladder, Charlestown want to continue a good run of form. They have won their last 2 And they're searching for 3 consecutive victories, which could take them to the top of the NPL Northern New South Wales ladder. Let's check the team news. And for Charlestown, just one change from the Blues side, who last played 2 weeks ago after that washed out round 4. They thumped Lake Macquarie 4-1. Experienced defender Kevin Davidson, he replaces youngster Max Vedka in the starting side. And for Adamstown, 2 changes for Shane Cansdale Sheriff's team after they went down 3-2 to Broadmeadow Magic. Alex Graham is serving a suspension after being red-carded in that match, while Ben Higgins is out with a knee injury. Judd Duncan returns for his first match since being red-carded in round 2, while former NSL striker Talon Martin will start for the Rosebuds. You can see the 2 skippers with Ben Higgins out. Chris Berlin stepping into the breach for Adamstown, and Scott Smith, the captain for Charlestown. Matt Tull on the sidelines as well for the Blues. It's quite a warm day here in Newcastle. Very warm autumn day. It's 32 degrees in Whitebridge. Continuing this trend where we've had heat 1 minute and rain the next. The coaches, Dave Tanchevsky, had his first season at Charlestown last season, and his team had a wretched run with injuries. He's keen to prove the doubters wrong this year. They started the season really well. They won their first 4 Charlestown. The same stage of the season in 2018, they were at the top of the table. They could be there again with a win this afternoon. And for the Rosebuds, coach Shane Cansdale Sheriff has had a rough start to the season. But his side did take 6 matches to win their first match in 2018 before turning the tide. They won 4 straight and raced up the ladder. Is this afternoon the moment it all clicks? So it's Charlestown in the light blue home kit from right to left in the opening half, and the Rosebuds in the 130th anniversary jersey in 2019 with a red sash. And we are underway. The final match of round 5. A couple of matches getting underway today. Western and Valentine will keep you across that one. And immediately Charlestown going on the attack. And they'll get an early corner. Good afternoon to Chris Turner.
Afternoon, Bart. And, it's good to have you here joining us with Bar TV after being promoted from your A-League last night. You must have done particularly well.
Can I just say, it's good to be back here. We've got one mic between us. No headsets. It's very different to last night, CT, so it's good to be back. And at the grassroots level, I must say, is this one curled in towards the back post. Kane Goodchild couldn't get on the end of it. McPherson. There is Kane Goodchild dodging past a couple, and the deflection has taken it over the bar. I should say this afternoon's referee, Ryan Gallagher, he's also been upgraded from the A-League. He was on the sideline last night as the assistant referee.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You know, congratulations, Bart, and another solid effort. This game here, most people around the ground thinking that Charlestown are going to walk away with this one fairly easily. I'm not so convinced. I mean, it just depends how you approach this one from Charlestown point of view. Certainly playing a system which looks at the moment like a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2. It's a conversation that you could have which way that one goes. And also, Adamstown certainly playing with 4 at the back, but we'll see how that one goes forward with Chris Berlin certainly on his own up front, which would suggest 5 through the middle of the park. So, Bart, it shapes up well. The ground itself, it's a hot day as you mentioned, but the ground looks a little bit heavy, and that may play into the hands of Adamstown a little bit more.
You know, I was talking to Matt Tull pre-match, and he said that it is quite heavy out there, even though we have had warm weather the last couple of days. Here's the ball attempted to be whipped in by Cameron Salini. McPherson. He's been with a few clubs the last few seasons as Pete McPherson. Now Cal Lewis with a touch towards Kane Goodchild. And CT, just on Adamstown, in comparison to Charlestown, a rough start to the season, 4 straight losses. But I tell you what, in some of the matches, I think they've been a little unlucky. Last week against Broadmeadow Magic, a couple of calls going against them late in the match, and in the end, so did the result.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I was talking about before. When you're getting yourself up for a game like this, the challenge for Broadmeadow was to get themselves up. Everyone totally expected a whitewash. And same here with Charlestown. Everyone thinks they're going to bowl them up, but you've still got to come out against a side that's going to be ready to play it. Adamstown is certainly going to do that. And don't forget, they've got some good players in their side. I mean, even without Ben Higgins in the side, they've got Ollie Davies and Talon Martin in the middle of the park. They've got Connor Hayden playing through the middle, Judd Duncan and Chris Berlin up front. So they've got players. And one that I particularly like is this man in Connor Hayden. He's a weapon, and he certainly can change the game. Combinations with him and Berlin will be interesting on how they go together.
Yeah, and also how he links up with Talon Martin, who's been promoted to the starting side. We'll get a look at him. But he is playing a little deeper than you'd normally expect. This ball cut across goal by Riley McNaughton, who scored that scorcher a couple of weeks ago against Lake Macquarie. There's a corner the way of the Blues. Yeah, Talon Martin, ex-striker, played in the NSL. And he's shoring up the defence of the Rosebuds this afternoon. This ball, well, the less said about Riley McNaughton's corner there, the better, I think. So what's the thinking there? Talon Martin playing alongside Ollie Davies as a centre-back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, look, it could be a number of things. It could be a matter of need, and you're filling in as a coach where you've got to sort of make adjustments because you have to, or it might be a strategic decision, the one that we're not quite sure about. So either way, we'll see how they pan out this afternoon with this. And also talking about players for Adamstown, let's not forget Ben Kelly in goals. BK has been a wonderful keeper for a long time, and he's got the ability to save teams from defeat. So they'll be looking for a big effort from him this afternoon. So we see Berlin's looking to get himself away, and Hayden's out on the right-hand side.
And now Connor Hayden, as you mentioned, gets a touch and curls this one across goal. Sits up for Finley Beasley, yet to score this year, and should have he taken on the strike? In the end, he tried to maybe be a little too cute, beat a couple of defenders, and Charlestown are able to clear their lines with Cullen Lewis, and the ball to change the point of the attack is a poor one, and it's picked out. Connor Hayden decides against linking up with Chris Berlin, and surely there was a foul there from Kevin Davidson, CT.
All of a sudden, get Beasley. He should have put that one away. First touch, that should have gone. And that combination between Berlin and Hayden is one that's exciting.
Here he is, Finley Beasley. Exciting young prospect for the Rosebuds. A few goals last year. As he dances this way and that. And in the end, it's come off no blues, and it will be a goal kick. Here's Kane Goodchild. Tried to slide that one through to his strike partner, Scott Smith. And now Adamstown through Matt Sikulski as their players play the first couple of rounds. Delivers it across goal. And now Chris Berlin finds Manoli Pappas. Now Beasley. Very calm in possession as he delivers to Sikulski. He takes on McNaughton, and the strike on goal, neither here nor there in the end. It remains 0-0. Just over 7 minutes gone in round 5 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. Adamstown targeting their first win of the season in round 5, and Charlestown aiming for a third consecutive victory. Here's the youngster, Daniel Hughes. Just 17 years of age, the left fullback. Now Smith dropping into the midfield. And Connor Hayden, gee whiz. That was acrobatic. Good child. Looking to free the leg. Couldn't do so. And Adamstown nudged it up the ground. Chris Berlin tracking after it. Kevin Davidson able to diffuse the situation.
Foot race there in the end. Berlin's is a particularly quick campaigner.
Reen Ferguson takes on Josh Williams. And it will sit up here for Riley McNaughton. He can hit them. Oh, gee whiz. Just into the side netting. We saw what he could do against Lake Macquarie, and he almost delivered again.
Yeah, wonderful strike just outside the box. He's got a great technique, and from here it almost looked like it went in for half a second. But that's the sort of thing that Charlestown need to do. They get themselves up into the game and they get some momentum happening, and that's when they'll go along with it. But what they don't want to do is let Adamstown get into the game like they have been, and they've been getting them forward, stretching them out, and catching them almost on the counter-attack. So if they can eliminate that and get something away, they'll feel comfortable. But they're not going to be comfortable until they've got something in the back of the net, a couple. And Adamstown, on the other hand, that you get the feeling that if they put one in, they're going to try to hang on to it. Hope they don't, but that's the way it feels at the moment.
That ball just slipped past Judd Duncan. And it allows some space for Goodchild. And now Riley McNaughton chiming in. And it was Ben Kelly. He was Adamstown's player of the match last week against Broadmeadow Magic. He was outstanding. You were talking about his qualities before.
Yeah, his ability as a shot stopper is second to none. He does have that. And when he gets on a roll, Ben Kelly, he's really, really hard. His confidence behind his team becomes very, very strong. And that's his real value. And he certainly did that last week against Broadmeadow Magic.
Ball delivered to the back post, and the header from Reen Ferguson deflected away. McNaughton, and appeals for handball. Ryan Gallagher waved them away, and Adamstown looked to break away through Manoli Pappas, stretching the legs down the far side of the ground. Looking just to switch up the attack with Duncan, dinking it straight onto the head of Cellini in the end, but they've turned it over. A lot of turnovers here from Charlestown. Just giving Adamstown an opportunity to score the opener, but I think that ball's crossed the byline. They're looking good, the Rosebuds.
That's what we were talking about before, but in the transition where it does turn over at the attacking end of Charlestown, and Adamstown broke really quickly, and there's another really good example of that and caught Charlestown on the back foot. So we've got half a break in play. We're without Smudge this afternoon, Bart. He's on parental duties.
Yes, as usual. On a Sunday? How can he get parental duties on a Sunday? Normally he gets Sundays off, doesn't he?
Well, when you get out of puberty, Bart, and you realise that there's some other responsibilities besides university, etc., you might find there's some children involved. He's not the only one in the family. I'll look after my old mate there.
Lockie Pasquale in the midfield for Charlestown. New recruit after he been at Edgeworth previously. Just was lacking game time in the first side. As Kane Goodchild attempts to turn away from Beasley. Couldn't do so. Now Connor Hayden. Here's the youngster Drew Grierson, who technically gave away the penalty last week against Broadmeadow Magic, but I didn't think there was much in it, and I thought he played a wonderful match, Drew Grierson. And great to see some of these young boys coming through. Drew Grierson, 20 years of age. Daniel Hughes on this left-hand side, in possession now, 17. And he's played the ball straight to Finn Beasley, who then couldn't find Connor Hayden. Finn Beasley, 18 years old. Adamstown, one of the younger sides in this NPL Northern New South Wales. Pappas, and now Grierson. Cutting infield away from McNaughton. Just put a little too much on that as he was trying to pick out his front man, Chris Berlin, who's playing at the top. Alone at the top in that 4-5-1 formation that Adamstown are playing. And the fact that they've scored, I should say they've conceded 13 goals in 4 matches, an average of just over 3 per match. I'm not surprised that he's looking to shore up that defence, Shane Cansdale Sheriff. There's Hughes' ball, cut out by Judd Duncan. And here he is. Duncan, can he get there? He just can't. Inside the line. And at the moment, Charlestown just struggling to find some space in between the lines. I feel when they're running at defenders, they're a little more dangerous when Goodchild has taken on a couple. But when they've tried to play it in between the lines, Adamstown's tight midfield and defence are really choking them out at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I think what they need to do now is get themselves on the ball a bit more often than what they have, keep possession for longer. And they'll do that a lot through McPherson, just dropping through the lines out of the back line and just dropping it into these two, Goodchild and Smith. And as they do find more possession, here we go, they'll get themselves in good position to play.
Here's McNaughton, little over here. Tanner Williams' header is dangerous, and Ben Kelly was able to extinguish the threat. Sikulski. There's the run inboard of Finley Beasley. And he uses him. Now Sikulski making the run. He had the final touch. And it will be a goal kick in the end. No, it won't. Ryan Gallagher points to the corner flag. So can Adamstown produce something? A goal that you could probably argue they deserve. Charlestown have had their glimmers on the counter. This one hangs up in the breeze. Ollie Davies got up alongside Daniel Hughes. Thumped clear. And Callan Lewis look to take on Judd Duncan. Hayden. Now Ollie Davies. Well defended by Daniel Hughes. I know Ollie Davies was back from injury last week, CT. He sliced his finger, is that right?
I haven't heard. Sorry, no.
I thought it was you that told me that, but must have been someone else. But it definitely happened. Someone told me. He had a Band-Aid on the finger. Hayden, cross goal, and Kevin Davidson has prodded it into his own net. And for the second time this season, Adamstown have an own goal, which gets them started. There was an own goal against Valentine in the opening round, which put Adamstown ahead. And it's a similar story at Charlestown this afternoon. Doesn't matter how it gets in the back of the net, CT, as long as it does, and Adamstown will be pleased with that.
Absolutely they will, and that's the strength of Connor Hayden we were talking about. His pace, his ability. He went, as soon as he got past his defender, he was straight towards the goal, and that deflection, that happens. Charlestown, on the other hand, this might be a good foot where they need it to get themselves into gear, and we'll see them probably now play with a little bit more urgency, because, to be honest, that first probably 15-20 has been pretty flat from them. Had a good build-up or two, but now they need to start to play, and they're sitting behind. Adamstown, as I said before, when they went 1-0 up, maybe a chance to sit and hold with that. Didn't necessarily do that last week against Broadmeadow Magic, but would like to see them play and keep going on with it and push and push. Got the feeling, though, in the back end of the game, Charlestown are going to be pretty strong. So this one's got some interest now, Bart.
And again, Adamstown have the opening goal. Can they hang on to it? Goodchild. And McNaughton hanging it up. Ben Kelly with the fist clear. Short, thought there was a handball in there from Pasquale, but Gallagher allows play to go on. Archbold. And now Hughes in the shadows of the grandstand. And again, the ball in between the lines. And Judd Duncan profits. Connor Hayden. And Pete McPherson, unable to keep up with the speedy winger, cuts it across, and Chris Berlin, well, he had a chance last week against Broadmeadow Magic, very similar, and he slotted it. What a moment for them to go up 2-0.
If that one goes in for Berlin, then things just really heat up. Connor Hayden, again, he was always going on the outside of his defender, but he drew about 3 and 4 players in to open up for Berlin, who'll be kicking himself for missing an opportunity like that.
Well, it was almost identical, the goal he scored last week. The difference was it was Manoli Pappas who sped down the right and squared it to him. On that occasion, it was Connor Hayden, and he just beat Pete McPherson for pace. A decent age gap between those two. Pete McPherson, 34. Connor Hayden, 22 years of age. Ben Kelly will gobble that one up. He's a classy player, Pete McPherson, but when it comes to speed, Connor Hayden has it over him in that department. It's Josh Williams. Back to his keeper, Ben Kelly. Will Adamstown rue that chance? 2 goals up inside the opening part of this first half. Swings and roundabouts, that's a big one.
Yeah, sure is. And as I said before, this Charlestown side now...
Well, here's Kane Goodchild almost in on goal, but Ben Kelly was quickly awake to the danger.
They need to really get themselves into the game. Talking to Dave Chanskevsky before the start of it.
Tanchevsky. I know, CT, you've had some problems with Dave Tanchevsky as Chris Berlin. It opens up for Finley Beasley. Can he make them pay? He stabs it across goal. It's over the line eventually. Matt Sikulski doubles the lead for the Rosebuds. And the warning after the first goal has not been heeded by the Blues. They are looking sluggish and slow. And now they've got 3 goals to make up if they are to win this one and make it 3 straight wins.
And I was going to say, Dave Tanchevsky said before the game, he said their biggest challenge today is get their heads right to be up for this game. And at the moment, you can see that they're not. They had some possessions and patches, but Adamstown, you know when you've got to come out. They've been playing okay. I haven't seen all of their games. I've seen a couple. They've been coming out okay in the games that we've seen. And as you said, Bart, been a little bit unlucky. Today they've taken 2 opportunities. Long, long way to go on this one.
And unfortunately, the goal interrupted CT's Dave Tanchevsky moment. He's had issues with that last name, calling him Dave Tanskevsky quite regularly. It's getting good child from outside the 18. Gee, he hit that well. And it wasn't far from goal.
Terrific strike there from Goodchild, and he would have wanted, he'd love that to go in for his side just so that we get themselves back in this game. Certainly pick up one before half time. And just to clarify on my good mate Tanch, but
that's why you call him Tanch.
I've only ever called him Tanch, and we've been mates for a long time, coached against each other in a number of divisions. And it just hasn't rolled off the tongue when I've been doing this Bar TV thing.
We all have those words, CT. There's Berlin. He'll be feeling a little better about himself after missing that golden chance. There's Williams bending it across, an air swing from Davidson. The clearance as far as Manoli Pappas. Now Judd Duncan. On that overhit, but Adamstown will be feeling pretty good about themselves at the moment. Coming into this match, they'd won just once in their last 14 NPL matches. Doesn't make great reading, but if you'd watched their previous 4 matches, you'd know they were right in at least 3 of them. Lambton, they were thumped 4-1. Against Western, they went down 4-2 in round 2. And they got that one back to 2-2. In round 1 against Valentine, they led that 1-0. And against Broadmeadow Magic last week, they led 2-1 with about 20 minutes to go. And conceded twice in the last 15 to go down. So they've been there and thereabouts, and at the moment, they're looking well placed to clinch 3 points. I was looking at the stats, CT, and in the NPL era, no side has ever lost 5 matches to start a season. The last side to lose 4 was Lake Macquarie back in 2014. They were relegated that year. So that's incredible. No side in the NPL era, so since 2014, has lost 5 straight to start the season. And if you think about it, Adamstown coming in here 4 straight, and Lake Macquarie, they've lost 3 straight to start the 2019 campaign. As we see our first drinks break of the afternoon. It is warm. It's up over 30 degrees at Whitebridge, home ground here of the Charlestown City Blues. And they've got some work to do.
So while we're having a drinks break, I'm just going to take the opportunity here to talk about the Charity Shield. Bart, Elders sponsor this. This is a Charity Shield in support of the Westpac Rescue Helicopter. This year the game is between Broadmeadow Magic and Lambton Jaffers. Sunday 12th of May at Magic Park, kickoff 2:30 p.m. So this is purely a fundraiser in the aid of Westpac Helicopter. Now, the Westpac Rescue Helicopter Service is something that's for everyone in the community. It's not selected to any particular person or type of group. It's for anyone that needs it, and they're a wonderful cause. And so what we're doing here is we're doing our best to let people know that it's on that day. Come out in numbers, come and support them, both teams. And we're going to do a little promo on this game next week, Bart. Have a bit of fun with it in the lead up to the event. But it should be a fantastic, cracking game against 2 high-quality sides, which will be a spectacle in itself. But desperately asking people to come out and have a look, spend the afternoon checking out this venue. We're hopefully going to have an opportunity for people to donate money as you're walking into the ground, and then you'll have the opportunity certainly inside with cash. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on that one as we get back to the action.
Well, I'll plan to be at that one to watch it, but I'm pretty sure I won't be commentating because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out about 4 days before then. So I think I'm going to have ice around my jaw and have a very swollen mouth. So you'll have to take the lead, CT.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue, Bart. Well, in fact, it will be. I'm just wondering why you're getting wisdom teeth out at this age. Normally you wait till your early 20s before that happens, is what I thought. Not when you're 12. But anyway, no, you'll be right. I think it's things a lot of people go through, and technology's a bit different, and you might be right. You'll never know. Surprise yourself.
Chris Berlin. Now Salini. Dinking it forward towards Charlestown's all-time leading goal scorer, Scott Smith, who's notched up another 3 this year, which puts him second on the Golden Boot count at the moment. In the race for the Golden Boot, here he is, Smith with the back heel to McNaughton. Bending it, and Ollie Davies with the header away. Set up for Pasquale, and his ball wide took a deflection, and Ryan Gallagher said an illegal deflection because it's a handball. He showed us there, Ryan Gallagher, exactly what happened. The arm moved to the ball. And that's good to see from a referee, explaining what happened and demonstrating it for us.
Yeah, and they do. It's good. It is actually. Hello, Anthony. We've just got a bit of side happening. But it is. It's good to see that the referees do take the time to make that happen. This position here with the wind slightly behind is good enough and far enough to see if we can keep over the ball.
And CT, I'll let you carry that through.
And didn't. Nothing but over the net. And that's one of the key things when you've got wind slightly assist. You need to get over and get your foot through the ball, get your body through the ball and drive. And you'll be disappointed with that one as Ben Kelly sets it for a restart.
Charlestown coming into this one, they'd only won 1 of their last 4 against Adamstown. Surprising, because there was a period there where they were dominating the Rosebuds. It was a period where Shane Price was head coach of the Blues and Graham Law, the main man for Adamstown in the dugout. And I think it was something like 4 straight in the NPL. Price over Graham Law. There's Judd Duncan. The clearance away. But as I said, Adamstown, 2 of the last 3 they've won in this battle. Most recent went the way of the Blues, though, last year, 4-1. As this hangs up towards Goodchild. And Gallagher is going to award the free kick Kane Goodchild looking rather quizzically at the referee.
Yeah, I think that he thought he was a little bit hard done by there potentially, and it doesn't really matter though. Ben Kelly's got the ball at his feet and his team are 2-0 up.
It's not often we reach round 5 of the competition. I know Charlestown have only played 3, but still 3 matches played, and Kane Goodchild has not found the back of the net. He's been one of the most prolific scorers for Charlestown and also Hamilton in the recent past. Last year he had that injury-interrupted season with the hamstring problems. But take out last year and he's probably been close to the best striker in the league.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. He's been, and the reason is because his positioning, his quality, his ability to play with the back to goal and his strength. He can run at players, and when he's running at players, he's able to draw them in. And typically it's been Scott Smith on his side, who's also banged away a ton for Charlestown, has been the beneficiary of his running at players. And as we saw with a strike from Goodchild a bit earlier, he knows where the bag is. He just pushed it a little bit wide. The power, if it had have gone and been on target, Kelly would have had no chance. That's the ability he's got. We'll see him pop up during the back end of games and through the season. He'll get goals. Just the fact that we're here at this point, it is a little bit surprising, but he'll score.
Chris Berlin all over Ryan Ferguson. He had a wonderful year a couple of years back, Ryan Ferguson. 11 goals back in the 2017 campaign. 3 last year and 1 this year. It's Pasquale. McNaughton. And dishes off to Callan Lewis. Can he find the ball into the box? He can't, because Matt Sikulski has 1 possession and he was manhandled as well. And I was saying that Drew Grierson was very impressive last week, CT. Well, Matt Sikulski has been a standout as well for the Rosebuds. Stepped up to playing first grade football after arriving at the club last year. He was part of that Maitland under-20 side that won the grand final in 2017. And now he gets his shot at first grade. And that is most definitely a handball from the man I was just talking about. I praise him and then he does that, CT.
That's often the way, isn't it? And sometimes as a first-grade footballer, all you just need is that start. So if you get that start, it's easy to get caught in the lower grades and then get a start, do well, and you sometimes can keep your spot. This is what seems to be the case with this young footballer and doing very well at this point.
Hughes. And Kevin Davidson, who opened the scoring this afternoon, unfortunately for him, into his own net. There's Goodchild on the spin and turn. And again, now he's diving in on Judd Duncan. Had 1 back possession momentarily, but Duncan was able to recover. Sikulski. Lovely footwork to evade McNaughton. But possession is gifted back to the Blues. Just after the half-hour mark in this round 5 match in the NPL Northern New South Wales. That own goal from Kevin Davidson opened the scoring, and Sikulski with the second.
I was mentioning early in the game, Bart, how Adamstown have such a young side. You were rattling off the numbers and the ages. The ground is heavier, and I was just looking at Kane Goodchild a little bit earlier. He's got to be careful, and they've got some more experience, McPherson at the back, etc. We've got some older players out there. The heavy ground's not going to suit them. The younger, the lighter weight guys are going to get away on this ground for longer. So the further and the deeper this game goes, Adamstown are going to like it because they're not going to run out of the legs that potentially on a heavy pitch Charlestown might see Goodchild.
He threads in McNaughton across goal, and Ben Kelly, he parried it and then was able to reach it in and pull it towards his chest. And as we were saying last week, super stuff in goals, and he's been rock solid thus far. And now this is what Kane Goodchild just waits for, the ball bouncing into his path and almost an opening for he. McPherson. McNaughton. With the angled pass to Callan Lewis, and there was Ryan Ferguson. And again, another free kick for a collision in the air, CTs. Reen Ferguson came flying through, and it's Ollie Davies who is gone to ground. Maybe a shoulder in the head. We'll try and have a glance at this.
Either way, it was very, very heavy from Ferguson. He had his eye on the goal. That's all he was concerned about. And Davies, he was certainly in the way. Just hope he hasn't had a head knock here, because it was quite forceful.
And hopefully he's all right. But it does look to be a head issue at the moment. He is very slow to his feet. And football doesn't have any head injury assessment at all, in terms of players going off the ground, doing a test and being able to come back on, like you would see in rugby union, rugby league. And I think it's something that needs to be looked at seriously, because players that have had head knocks stay out there, and it's not great for their well-being.
Yeah, well, personally, I've seen it over many years, and you do see players get up and go again, and you sometimes I've seen players that haven't been right, haven't been assessed, and go on with things. Fortunately, I haven't seen anyone with any damage that I know of long term, but you're right, it's a good point, but we should have an assessment to make sure they're okay. And how many times in your commentating career have you seen it? It's quite a bit.
Seen it quite a bit, and the worst case I saw, and I wasn't commentating the game, it was the Australia-UAE quarter-final match in the Asian Cup, where the UAE defender was concussed, and then about 2 minutes after the head clash, he then collapsed, which was awful. You don't want to see that. As Callan Lewis angles his run infield, looking for Kane Goodchild with the pass, and Ollie Davies is back out there now. Does still look a little ginger though. McNaughton. Back goes Drew Grierson. Picked out the pass wonderfully as he bent back the head and powered the header towards Sikulski, and now it's Josh Williams. Bending one up the line for Berlin. Links up with Hayden. And now Hughes. Adamstown being urged not to give away the free kick. McNaughton. Again in between the lines. Kane Goodchild has got green shirts all around him, but he's able to find Callan Lewis, who dodges and weaves his way into the box. Almost fell for McNaughton, who dove in, and there was a hand outstretched.
And Gallagher was very quick to pick that up and let Adamstown get on with it. Adamstown do want to get on with it, and this is what's surprised me so far. I thought that they may have just sat in a little bit, but they're certainly attacking football at the moment and upsetting the rhythm of Charlestown.
Here's Ferguson. He has Williams backtracking. And now McPherson, Goodchild, falls back for Pete McPherson, who finds Callan Lewis. Tried to dink it in towards Reen Ferguson. And now Matt Sikulski ran into a brick wall in the form of Riley McNaughton. And then Sikulski's able to distribute to Connor Hayden, who has Daniel Hughes backtracking, and the youngster, the 17-year-old, did really well. Good body position and was able to nudge it over the line under some pressure there from Connor Hayden. It's Judd Duncan. Dodges past a couple. Berlin. A good tackle according to Ryan Gallagher from Cameron Salini. Chris Berlin didn't agree. You might have heard that through the mic. We apologise for that language.
Well, he's probably got every reason. He thought that he was clearly fouled, and he was just expressing his frustration there.
McNaughton curling it in from the far side. Well, that surely is a foul. And Chris Berlin's still letting Ryan Gallagher know about the previous foul.
He's just letting you know that's a square up from before, and that one was soft. It's about what he was saying there. But look, Hayden again, Sikulski on the other side. They're causing Charlestown a lot of problems here. Their width and speed is what's doing some damage, and they need to control that at this stage of the game. But these two guys don't look like slowing down.
He's such a passionate player, Chris Berlin. Great to see him with the captain's armband on this afternoon. And his hair, what about his hair? Perfectly aligned, CT. You wish you had hair like that.
Well, at least he's got some colour in his. But, yeah, whatever it is, I don't really care. As long as he can play good football, and he does exactly that, Bart. It's McPherson.
Looking for Rain Ferguson. You didn't really go for that one, did you?
No point beyond it.
It's Daniel Hughes. Well, that was theatrical. He put in a big dive.
Yes, he did, Bart. He did.
He had a free kick in very good position here. Charlestown and Riley McNaughton walking over. They'd love to halve the deficit before half-time.
Yeah, the thing about this free kick is he can really get something on it. It's not going to float, and he can drill it in and hopefully get someone on the end of it.
Well, it was just behind Rain Ferguson, Pasquale, and McPherson picks out Kane Goodchild, who took on Grierson, but the youngster got the block in. And now he's turned it over to Manoli Pappas. They are scrapping and working hard in defence, Adamstown. And they look to break quickly through Sikulski. It all broke down, though. Goodchild. Drew Grierson jockeying him quite well. And the clearance from Sikulski only as far as McNaughton. Good press from Finley Beasley just to put him under a bit of pressure. And Adamstown quickly pushing up, and it's forced a turnover from Cellini. And now Connor Hayden with some open pastures. He takes on Cellini and just rifles a shot across goal.
So for young players watching there, you see Cameron Cellini. He's got Connor Hayden running at speed. What he didn't do was commit. He sort of got himself on an angle, so he's ready to turn or swivel either way, depending which way Hayden was going to go. Slowing him down in the process as he's coming to him quickly, he's trying to slow him down. He slows him down and forces him to make a shot as he's getting closer, and in the end, he scuffs it wide. So anyone's watching a good piece of defending, watch Cameron Cellini right there, and you'll see in good motion how to slow down an attacker.
And he'll feel a bit better about himself as well after giving away the ball to allow that attack to take place. So under 5 minutes left in this opening half. In round 5 of the NPL Northern New South Wales, Charlestown, 5th on the ladder against Adamstown, who are second last and winless. And it's the Rosebuds who lead it by 2-0. An own goal from Kevin Davidson and Matt Sikulski, the goal scorers. And they could have had another one through Chris Berlin. It really could be 3-0. McPherson, again, looking to play that between the lines. And Adamstown, so tight, not letting the pass through. And this is an example of a kind of defence that the Socceroos faced over in the UAE. And playing balls between the lines is you find it very difficult to break sides down when they're playing a 4-5-1. I think, as I was saying, Charlestown looked most dangerous when you've got Goodchild and Smith taking on players.
Yeah, it may well be the intention of Candell Sheriff to overload the middle of the park. Even though Charlestown are playing a 5 or 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, they're interchangeable, but the fact is that Adamstown are always there. But you're just looking at them, they are hard to break at the moment because their lines are very clear.
So Callan Lewis, a neat turn, but it was a very, very tight angle, and Drew Grierson just nudging him towards the byline, and then dispossesses him, and Sikulski chips it up the line. From a side who is the worst defence in the competition, they are scrapping and winning possession back on every occasion. Just on the edge of their 18-yard box, Adamstown.
We can see how quickly they get in their back lines in order and the middle of the park.
As McNaughton now nudges it to Callan Lewis with the attempted back heel. It all comes apart at the seams again for Charlestown. And Oli Pappas finds Judd Duncan as they look to switch it up. There was some space out here on this near side, but it's quickly dissipated. Ollie Davies finds Talon Martin, playing as the centre-back with Ben Higgins out of the side with a knee injury. As Davies overhits that ball up and over the top. As we tick towards stoppage time in this first half. Just going to check the score at the other ground, CT. Valentine up against Western. It's Kane Goodchild, cross goal. Couldn't find his strike partner in Scott Smith. Those two have formed a wonderful combination over the years, both here at Charlestown and Hamilton Olympic, just for the one season. And at Western, between Western and Valentine, it is currently locked at 0-0 as we see that ball whiz across goal.
Yeah, certainly an opportunity there, just no one on the end to make anything happen.
McNaughton. Now Callan Lewis turns away from Sikulski. And now McNaughton and McPherson with a 1-2. But again, Adamstown initiating the block, and Charlestown just can't find a way through. Salini.
Been very impressed with Peter McPherson's sharpness, his awareness in and around the box, the attacking box, and how sharply and quickly he's getting the ball away. He's always had that ability, but geez, looked good and dangerous there this afternoon so far.
As Matt Sikulski has some time and some space ahead of him, and Chris Berlin has just dropped back. It's Pappas and Grierson decides the best option is to look long and initiate a foot race between Salini and Beasley. Nathan Archbold, the Blues keeper, was at the Brisbane Strikers last year in the NPL Queensland. Formerly with the Blues in 2016 and 17, and also Broadmeadow Magic and Lake Macquarie before that. He was actually part of that Lake Macquarie side who lost 4 straight to start the 2014 season I was talking about before. Adamstown looking to avoid that statistic, being the only side in NPL Northern New South Wales history to lose 5 straight to start the season, and at the moment they're doing good on that. It's Connor Hayden. Has Salini backtracking. Can he find the corner? He can't. Straight at Nathan Archbold. It was a tight angle. Very good defending again.
One thing I will say about Connor Hayden, we're on the perfect angle to see it, just his intention to go to goal. There's nothing about going down the byline and across. He's making things happen, and when he's cutting inside, you don't know whether he's actually going to continue left or go on the outside as he did on that occasion. Either way, he's forcing a save and keeping Adamstown ticking over.
He scored 2 in his last 2 against Charlestown. Chris Berlin has scored 2 in his last 3 against the Blues, so 2 front men who don't mind playing against Charlestown as Beasley looks up. Shaped to shoot, and in the end did neither and gave away possession. Smith almost took out Pete McPherson, but it looped up and over the top to Goodchild. And this quick ball almost caught Adamstown at the back. It hasn't done so though, and it will be the Rosebuds who will head to the sheds after a first half they can be proud of with a 2-goal advantage. Charlestown really couldn't find a way through Adamstown's very tight midfield and defence. Half-time at Lyle Carr Oval. Charlestown City Blues 0, Adamstown Rosebud 2. Charlestown, a bit of work to do in the second half, CT, but Adamstown, they've got to back up what they produced in that opening 45.
Yeah, Adamstown, certainly Cairnsdale Sheriff would be ecstatic right now going with its 2-0 lead. You asked me it was going to be 2-0 Adamstown at the start of the game, not a chance at half-time. I wouldn't have thought. However, Charlestown do have a lot of work to do, and Tanchesky, there you go, Bart, has got some discussions to have with his man about how he's going to get his head right. They've worked on their structure, they've worked on their shape, how they go about it, but it's about now for them, I think, getting themselves in better field position more often, and with that, creating more opportunities, because at the moment they've had the odd chance here or there, but everything seems to be more on the counter for Adamstown, and with their speed and lightweight, it seems to be working. So it'll be interesting second half to see how the legs of Charlestown carry through versus the youth of Adamstown.
And CT, that is the big question in the second half. Adamstown, they are a very young side. Do they have the ability to say that 45 minutes was fantastic and go out and do exactly the same thing?
Well, this is where you want the maturity of your players in the team, like McPherson. You've got other players in there that are going to do that, like Smith. There's Ferguson. There's Cameron Cellini. I could just rattle them off. They'll be in there now having a discussion about how we fix this thing up. As a group of senior players, they'll look at that. The coach will guide that conversation, and then they'll be coming out, right, we've got a clear plan, and this is how we're going to go about it. Whatever it is they adopt to do, they've got to do it together, stick to that plan that they come out with, and execute. The younger guys, perhaps as you're pointing out to or alluding to, Bart, maybe it's a case of we go out and hang on. Not what I've seen so far. I thought they may have done that, but they've certainly attacked, and I'd like to just see some more of that from them in the second half.
All right, well, we will take a break, and we'll be back in 10 for the start of the second half. Welcome back to Lyle Carr Oval in Charlestown, round 5 of the NPL Northern New South Wales, and it's Charlestown City Blues, the home side, with a bit of work to do. They're currently sitting 5th on the NPL Northern New South Wales ladder against second last and winless Adamstown Rosebud. And it's the Rosebuds leading by 2-0. An upset based on form, you would say. But Adamstown have been building to this over the last few weeks. And Chris Berlin, the captain for this afternoon with Ben Higgins out, is about to get us underway. The Adamstown Rosebuds from right to left in this second half in season 130 for them. And Judd Duncan immediately looking long. And Tom Smart is out there for Charlestown at left fullback. He has replaced the young man Daniel Hughes, the 17-year-old. He's going to add a little bit of steel to that back line.
Yeah, well, good afternoon. Welcome back. Be interesting to see how we carry on with this second half. Adamstown Rosebuds come out with a cracking start to this first half, having scored 2 goals, and Charlestown with all the work to do. Be interesting to see what Tancheski has said in the shed there at half-time, but because whatever it is, it needs to be unified. And this team, if they want some points out of today, they've got a big second half in front of them.
Well, CT, you're friends with a lot of current NPL players on Facebook, which shows up on the Facebook stream of this particular match as a clearance away from Pasquale. And I can see there are a lot of players watching with interest, seeing that Adamstown are leading by 2-0. Here's Davidson. And now McNaughton.
Well, it is interesting, Bart, because personally I wouldn't have picked it, and they're doing well, and they've got some enthusiasm about the game, and I've spoken to Smudge a lot about this over the years, about how much that carries you, and before the start of the game, Coach Tanch had said his biggest challenge today is getting the guys ready mentally for this match, and clearly they've been a little bit flat, and they still look flat, so they've got to really change things around, and Goodchild starting to bark some orders around, and maybe, as the game goes on, if nothing changes, they get a bit frustrated. Adamstown continue on and keep pressing, and they're fit. Ground's heavy, and so things at the moment are certainly swaying in the way of the Adamstown Rosebud side.
And CT, great to have Laurie McKenna watching as well. What a win last night for the Jets as well. Cracking match of football over the Wanderers 3-2. It's Tom Smart, the overlapping run down the left flank, bending it across, and came off Talon Martin and falls for Matt Sikulski in the end. Scott Smith gave his arm a little bit of a tug and then a strong tackle from Pasquale, but unfortunately for him, it's deflected into the path of Finley Beasley, who is showing a clean pair of heels. Kevin Davidson directs him out towards the sideline. And now a clip of the ankles, and Adamstown with the free kick.
Yeah, and you mentioned Laurie McKenna there, but it just isn't he a man of the people, and it doesn't matter what level it's at. He's here watching this afternoon and watching this game with interest and keeping eyes on the local talent, etc., which is good to see. And see Adamstown on the ball here in a pretty good position, similar to one that was hit late in the second half, where you can actually get something on the ball. It's not going to be floated in, it's going to be hit with some authority, looking for Berlin, Hayden.
And Sikulski, they go for the alternative option there. Finley Beasley played in down the line. In the end, it results in a corner. The breeze is going to help Matt Sikulski here. We saw what Demi Petratos did last night, speaking of the Jets. But it's not going to prefer the left-footed Matt Sikulski. He's going to bend this away from goal. And he hits it low and hard. Well, he'll be very disappointed with that. Charlestown let off the hook in the end, and Cal Lewis, it just shows you the pitch is a little damp. Even though it's currently around 30 degrees at Lyle Carr Oval. So round 1 CT, it was about 30 degrees. Round 2, we had matches washed out. Round 3, hot again. And then last week we had matches washed out. And then we're back to the heat in round 5. So based on that, expect the rain to approach next week. Scott Smith in a foot race with Drew Grierson. And the 20-year-old winning that one, all ends up. Goodchild. And now Smith, just behind Callan Lewis, and it bobbled past Reen Ferguson, who does track it down inside the line. And now Tommy Smart looking for Goodchild, who put his body on the line alongside Talon Martin. McPherson distributes out to Ferguson, and now Goodchild. There's some chances flowing here for Charlestown. Shane Counsdale Sheriff is outside his technical area, barking orders to his troops because he knows this is an important period. If Charlestown can get one back, you'd say they're odds on to get an equaliser. 2 goals, it's a dangerous margin.
Yeah, that is, and it's right at this point you do get a goal against you for Adamstown, and that's when momentum can swing, and we've spoken about that a lot about in the past, where you can really go on with things. But at the moment, the longer that Adamstown can hold them out, things like Grierson, just that defending on Smith down in the corner, just outpace him. That's deflating for Charlestown. And so little things like that start to add up and add to the frustration of this Blues side.
There's Reen Ferguson. Now Goodchild linking up with Pasquale, and Goodchild was collected late. Free kick to Charlestown. Speaking of the Blues, there's a strong chance that they will be called Azuri again next year, with the FFA getting rid of that identification policy, which resulted in them having to change the name, the National Club Identification Policy, which is good news. Sponsored by Club Azuri are the Blues. And that, therefore, when you accidentally call them Azuri CT, because that's what you've called them for forever. I was going to say 70 years, maybe. There's Salini. Tom Smart. Between the lines, and again cut out by Judd Duncan. A few turnovers from both sides. McPherson. Pasquale. Skims it along the tarmac. Cal Lewis. Finds Pasquale, and now Riley McNaughton with the overlapping run. Curling it across. Cal Lewis. Beautifully done from Charlestown. That's a lovely goal from Cal Lewis. Opens his account for 2019. And Charlestown have got the goal they desired.
Well, Lewis, take nothing away from that header. He held his ground really well and just put it exactly where it had to go. On that occasion, ball that came in was perfectly placed, and this is exactly what Adamstown Rosebud didn't want right now, because the shift we were talking about before, how they adjust their heads to Charlestown and whether they gives them an extra leg to keep going with things. Adamstown have got a big job in front of them right now.
But what about the build-up down the right? The link-up play, McNaughton, Lewis, combining with Pasquale, and then the header as well.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that this Charlestown side has the ability to hold the ball, and the quality they've got through the park. I'm loving the enthusiasm of this Adamstown side and how they've really been countering consistently. But you can see already, Bart, you can see already how Charlestown have got that spring back, and there's a bit of feeling about the game again.
They've just clawed their way back into this second half, and now the deficit has been halved. And Adamstown have barely...
too much of it, and pushed Ben Kelly through the goal and forced that drop. So no issue there with a free kick. But you can see the intention now of Charlestown. They're really going to drive on with this as best they can. Adamstown, the other side of things, they really need to just continue with what they did. Counterplay was working for them pretty well, and continue on with that. Plus, they've had some good lead-up work through there, Sokulski and also with Connor Hayden on the other right-hand side. So you continue using those two guys and continue trying to break, and they will have or continue to cause some problems for Charlestown, but.
Judd Duncan. The ball will loop into the path of Grierson, who tried to just touch it down the line, and it skimmed off his boot and over the sideline, and now Manoli Papa slips over. Things just not going the Rosebuds' way at the moment. Smith and Reen Ferguson. Touch took him away from goal. Did recover well. Now takes them on and dinks it straight to Ben Kelly. Maybe in two minds there. Unsure whether to take them on and go for goal or find a teammate. Williams. Hayden. And now Judd Duncan. Finley Beasley has open pastures out here, but Riley McNaughton read it well. Pappas. And Beasley. Got a clip from McNaughton, but Ryan Gallagher, well, he was going to play advantage. Brings it back for the free kick.
Yeah, look, Adamstown, again, looking to get themselves into the front end of the park. But this one, they've played short once or twice from this sort of location. You would expect that the ball's got to go into the box. They'd love to get another goal here at this point, because if they can do that, just help break down. They've overloaded the middle of the park. Got one extra essentially most of the time. Got numbers in the box at the moment.
So what you're saying is get rid of the change-up, just knock it into the box. Sokulski is going to do just that. Straight onto the head of Reen Ferguson, though. And the header away finds Kane Goodchild, who looks up. He's going to do well to beat Judd Duncan. He's got a lot of pace. So Smart to Pasquale, who was crucial in that build-up which led to Cal Lewis's goal. Another late challenge here, this time on Reen Ferguson. And they're looking to take it quickly. There's space down the left. Adamstown just a little sleepy. And Tom Smart rifled it into Goodchild. Classy back heel. Smart across goal. And Talon Martin nodded it away outside the 18-yard box. Finley Beasley did get his head to it. Then was unsure what to do. And Charlestown have an opening down this near side with McNaughton. Beasley trying to shut it off. McNaughton uses his skill, bending it in. A little too tight to the byline. And it did cross the line. must have come easily as the ball was cleared over the byline. What's happened? No sound coming through.
Berlin and Daniel Hughes, the 17-year-old. Yes. Yeah, add a little bit particular. And keep pressing.
Where'd it go?
There, but it just isn't him in. Ferguson. Exactly what happened. How they've
CT, we might have the audio back. I'll just wait and see. We'll just test this out for a second. Sorry if we did lose coverage for a moment. Here we go. And we'll just hang with this corner from Cal Lewis as he bends it in. Pappas with the clearance away. Now Tom Smart picks out McPherson on the header. And Smith with a snap at goal, and Ben Kelly with the save. Yes, we are back, CT. We did, sorry about that to everyone watching at Impar TV land. We're just figuring out how to get the audio back and online, and we've done that, CT. Well done.
Yeah, it had absolutely zip to do with me, Bart, but good work and welcome back.
Had nothing to do with me either. Just the technology gods, I think, as Ferguson. Now Tom Smart. And here's Goodchild. Linking up with Pasquale. And also Cal Lewis. And now Goodchild picks out his mate Scott Smith. And Drew Grierson. Wonderful work, the young man. But it's going to be a corner to the Blues. Now, David Connick has sent in a message. I'll let CT have a read of that shortly after we witness this corner. But we've got a couple of balls on the field, so we may have a little bit of a delay. It's Pete McPherson. Can he pick out someone in the box? It was low towards the near post. A neat swivel from Kevin Davidson. And just while we did have that break of sound, Zach Lloyd is now out there for Charlestown. Former Jets youth man. He's out there for Charlestown. It's Davidson down in the box. Didn't look to be too much in that, CT. Shoulder to shoulder. The Charlestown fans certainly weren't pleased. And now Duncan is felled by Thomas Smart. And frustration from the Blues. What were your thoughts on that, CT?
Well, potentially the girlfriend of that player may be sitting in front of us, so I've just got to be a bit careful now so I don't get a backhander. I didn't think there was too much in it. I thought it was shoulder to shoulder. Maybe the arms are a bit spread. Sometimes in this day and age when you do just sort of make it a little bit more obvious, it gives yourself away. But I didn't see too much in that one at all, to be honest, Bart.
Yep, I agree with you as we have our final drinks break. Scott Smith blowing up at Ryan Gallagher. Well, I think he got that spot on. I'll let you read this out from David Connick. We'll change the mood slightly.
Well, he's looking for shout-out. You've just got one. This is for Carter City Football Club, who's hosting the Swansea this coming Saturday on the 13th. It's in the Zone Premier League, which is being filmed as part of the Optus Sports mini-documentary series, Top Tier Towns. Now, they're focusing on the Carter City, who share the same name with their Premier League team, who are taking on Swansea in the Australian version of the Welsh Derby. Kickoffs at 2:30 at Cardiff. You can get yourself down there and have a look at that. Look, local clubs doing this sort of stuff, but it's fantastic. It's really good. And you talk about grassroots football. This is where it's all at. I'm sure they'll have a barbecue going. Kickoff at 2:30. And you can see all of the information on the Cardiff City Football Club Facebook page. He's given details, and that one's too much for me to read out. But Cardiff City Football Club, go and check out their Facebook page, and you'll be able to find them there. And thanks, Brad Wheeler, letting us know that Marcel Marceau is doing a good job in commentary.
Thank you, CT. And yeah, that Top Tier Towns, it's basically where Optus Sport, well, hang on a second, Ryan Gallagher is going to give a yellow card. Now, we can't actually see who has got the yellow card. It's someone on the Charlestown bench. Adamstown with the free kick, and Liam Ryan is going to replace Finley Beasley. So Scott Smith has headed down the tunnel. He's been replaced by the Japanese import Ryo Nishiura, who's up front now for the Blues. Scored an under-20s goal. Yet to score in the top flight, though. We'll get a good look at him now. There's Kevin Davidson. Wins the ball at the back for the Blues and finds Reen Ferguson. He had to go quickly to try and find Nishiura. I remember, CT, a game we were doing here last year, Charlestown and Lambton, and Masaya Sakamoto, the Japanese import last year for Charlestown, scored the winner against the Jaffas. Could Nishiura endear himself to the home fans with an equaliser? There's Tom Smart. Needing to play here between Nishiura and McPherson. Nudged away by Josh Williams, and now Judd Duncan showing a clean pair of heels, and he picks out Chris Berlin. He's got Liam Ryan making the run with him. Chris Berlin goes himself, and Nathan Archbold, that was a brilliant save. Outstanding from the Charlestown keeper. That was such a strong paw he got to the ball, and now Liam Ryan taking them on and scoring his first goal in the NPL Northern New South Wales. The former Maitland man gets on the board for Adamstown. And Chris Berlin opted not to play in the ball moments ago. Well, on that occasion, Liam Ryan said, I'll take them on myself and score, and he did.
We asked Adamstown not to take their foot off the accelerator. They haven't done that. Liam Ryan, great finish. He was on the spot. The lead-up work early from Chris Berlin. Loved the way he's running at his defenders, getting them inside out, creating opportunity. Had the chance to slide it off, didn't. Had a shot, deflection. Great save, and then goal in the end. Great effort. And this is exactly what Adamstown have needed, a goal at this point in the game, Bart.
And hasn't it all turned around after that penalty shout? Frustration for Charlestown. And Adamstown go up the other end and score their third, and now Charlestown have got plenty of work to do. Nishiura, and now Goodchild. And again, the tight and compact midfield just swarming around possession. Berlin unable to keep the ball in. He's led from the front this afternoon, hasn't he? The captain. I know I said moments ago he probably should have played in Liam Ryan, but that's Chris Berlin. He takes players on. He looks to score.
Well, the thing is, he's got the ability to create enough space to get a shot on goal, and he did that on that occasion. Forces a save, and it pops back out, ends up with a goal.
Salini turning around, and it's one of those situations where if Chris Berlin plays the pass and Liam Ryan blazes it over, you go, well, why didn't he just take the shot? So, you know, we here in the stand can criticise either way, can't we? So, we'll let him get away with that. There's Rutledge. It's very easy up here. Grierson, Pappas, Sikulski. very tight with the sideline, and he's gone down in a crumpled heap. He's very slow to his feet. He may have got one from behind. It was in the shadows of the dugout. Davidson nudging it up towards Grierson. And now Nishiura quickly tries to pick out Reen Ferguson, but Josh Williams read it well and dinks it up to Connor Hayden. And Tom Smart sliding in and ensuring Liam Ryan didn't have a burst down that right side.
Just quickly, Bart, let's not forget about the Elders Charity Shield in support of the Westpac Rescue Helicopter game. Sunday, May 12, Magic Park, kickoff 2:30 p.m. All proceeds, all to the Westpac Rescue Helicopter.
There's Duncan. Gives away possession. And Nishiura, we get a good look at his speed. We know one man that does have speed is Callan Lewis. Taking on Drew Grierson. Down to the byline. And he fired it across goal. Reen Ferguson should track this one down and recycle the ball back into the middle. It hangs up just behind Kane Goodchild, and Grierson thumps it over towards the sideline. Lloyd towards McPherson, who let it run on to Nishiura, whose ball across goal. Again, read by Josh Williams. And now Tom Smart from distance. Straight at his former teammate, Ben Kelly from Lake Macquarie. There's Duncan. Now Hayden. Nudges it up the line to Liam Ryan. He'll be full of confidence after his first goal in the top flight. Pappas. Now Grierson. Picks out Chris Berlin, who's just going to look to hold up the ball. Luke Rutledge is just slotted in perfectly to that back line, replacing Talon Martin, who did the work for the opening hour. Now they've given away the ball, and Pete McPherson, can he profit? Nishiura. Just in behind Reen Ferguson. He's been given too much to do there.
This game has just been like troughs and lows for both sides, where they're going through patterns of energy, and flatness, and now Adamstown firmly back in the driver's seat. Connor Hayden being a big part of that this afternoon, the way he's been able to get at them from wide and cut into goal. Same with Saluski on the other side. Chris Berlin, he's had a fantastic afternoon, but love the way he's led the side about and kept going with some pace and hasn't stopped his energy and directness at goals either.
Now, I thought Matt Saluski had a good game as well. He's doing well this afternoon with the names. Matt Sikulski scored one early this afternoon to make it 2-0 as Goodchild. Judd Duncan. Unfortunately, we've only got one mic this afternoon, so CT unable to respond to my jibe there. There's Tom Smart linking up with Davidson. And now Goodchild on the swivel and unable to keep his feet. He claps Ryan Gallagher sarcastically. Such is the frustration out there from the Charlestown side of things, which has been evident probably since that penalty decision didn't go their way. And CT Knight thought he got it spot on. Ryan Gallagher, the referee. So Tom Smart standing over the free kick. He can thunder a strike. He dishes off to Pete McPherson, though, who takes them on himself. And it's very hard to play a ball through that packed defence. Ollie Davies in the middle, clearing it away. Archbold. And powering it over the sideline in the end. Too far for Ferguson. Well, CT. Howard. Sorry. CT's having a drink. Salini through the heart of the defence. I'll go back to CT. How are Charlestown going to break through this packed Adamstown defence?
What I have liked is the way they've played their 4-5-1, which is not a combination that you see very often or advertised that way, if you like, that clearly on the park when they come out, genuinely to overload the middle of the park. Although Charlestown have that extra play coming into 3-5-2, they've done really well in setting up their defence, and you can see they look organised. How are Charlestown going to do that? They need to drag them out of positions. They need to get people like Smith, Goodchild, hold the ball up and get people running beyond the lines. And if they could do that, then at that point, that's where they're going to create some opportunities. But they haven't had the ability or the opportunity to do that. And that's the only way I can see them getting in behind this defence that's leaked so many this year.
Well, they haven't kept aside to single digits all season, Adamstown. Conceded 2 in the first, 4 in rounds 2 and 3, and then 3 last week against Broadmeadow. But they're holding firm this afternoon. Chris Berlin finds Connor Hayden, and it just bounced up awkwardly off the turf. Couldn't fire it on goal.
Hayden will be disappointed with that because it's on his strong side. Set up nicely for him, and he'll be disappointed he's put that so far wide. At least you want to make a save.
Well, Nathan Archibald with a car killer there. Again, couldn't keep it inside the line. And now Berlin looping it up and over the top towards Liam Ryan, who made it 3-1 to Adamstown about 5-10 minutes ago. Manoli Pappas squaring it up to Duncan. Took on McPherson. And he's just struggling for an outlet here. Judd Duncan, in the end, he finds it in Liam Ryan. Pasquale won it back for the Blues, and Nishiura just crowded out there. But the ball spins back into the path of the international. Cal Lewis back to Nishiura, hooks it to the back post, and Reen Ferguson, maybe not where he intended, but in the end, Ferguson's able to curl it back across, and Ben Kelly plucks it out of the afternoon sky. Nathan Archibald searching for an avenue. Now Tom Smart. Well picked out by Judd Duncan in front of his opposite number. Currently 0-0 still at Western between the Bears and Valentine Phoenix. Sikulski cut down by Kevin Davidson. Well, he's copped some treatment in the last few minutes, Matt Sikulski. And Ryan Gallagher just has to be careful here. This match doesn't get out of control because he got cleaned up moments ago and there was no decision from the referee, and then again there gets crunched.
Yeah, he sure did. Critical period here for Rosebuds. The Buds have got to just keep that sting in the game because they've been doing it really well, and by that I'm meaning they haven't taken their foot off the accelerator.
Duncan's touch too heavy. For the final 10 minutes, round 5 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And it's Adamstown who are looking good to win their first match of the season. Can Charlestown have something to say about that? Will be a goal kick here. Coming into this afternoon's match, they hadn't won in 5 matches away from Adamstown Oval. the Rosebuds. Tom Smart with the throw towards Ferguson, but it falls for Judd Duncan. Now Ben Kelly under a little bit of pressure from Nishiura. Tom Smart. And now Connor Hayden picks up the ball for Adamstown, rolls it into the path of Chris Berlin. A fourth would sail it for Adamstown. And it was Salini putting his body in the way of the ball. Tom Smart's ball is straight to Manoli Pappas. Squaring it up towards Liam Ryan, but Kevin Davidson steps up out of the back line. McPherson. The pirouette. And now Ferguson. Kane Goodchild. Can he find a route to goal? No, he can't. He can only find a route to giving away a free kick. There's Adamstown make their final change, and Tom Cox is going to head out there. And Chris Berlin, it looks, is coming off the ground, and he is taking his time, just giving the captain's armband to Luke Rutledge. 3 goals last year for Tom Cox. And Chris Berlin, mighty effort from him this afternoon. Took the captain's armband with Ben Higgins out of the side. And he has given 110%, as he does every week, as Zach Lloyd winning the foul for his side. So is there an upset on the way, CT? That's the question at the moment. Charlestown have got a lot of work to do. Tom Smart did well after the ball was dipping in behind him. Now that ball to no one. And Adamstown will happily watch that one cross the byline.
What I've failed to see from Charlestown this afternoon is being able to get past the middle five and the back four to change that shape. They've held it very well. It looked organised, and the only way to get in behind them was to stretch them out and play balls in over the back or through along the ground. Haven't been able to do that. That's been a big piece of them as a factor in this game. In Charlestown not being able to get through. It's kind of like been a brick wall for them. And Angelo Surf has set that up perfectly for the Adamstown so far.
Logjam if the result stays the same way on the ladder. Just 4 points separating first from ninth. And the only two sides without a victory will be Maitland and Lake Macquarie. There's Sikulski under some pressure here from Pasquale, who is doing his best to try and win the ball down against the byline. Davidson strike on goal from Connor Hayden ends up on the roof of the net. Adamstown taking their time with the corner. That's Sikorski heading down to take. Liam Ryan, the short option. And Liam Ryan taking them on. Pappas. A bit of pressure from good Charles. And Sikorski looks to take on Lockie Pasquale down towards the corner flag. Good Charles came through from behind and cleaned up Matt Sikorski. Worse for wear as well. Again, he's been given some treatment. CT Matt Sikorski in the wars in the second half. So the dying embers of this one. Adamstown so close to tasting victory for the first time this season. As Rutledge's, I should say, Williams's ball allows Charlestown to push forward. Nishiura, well dealt with by Drew Grierson. And it means Charlestown will start the season with 2 wins and 2 defeats from their opening 4 matches as Tom Cox tried to get around Kevin Davidson. And out comes a yellow card for Davidson, who was too forceful in the shoulder across Tom Cox. So the win would push Adamstown to 8th on the table. 4 points from the top 4. Pappas away from McPherson. Diving challenge from Tom Smart is able to win possession back for the Blues as Williams and Nishiura come together. Getting a little tangled up. Davies and Cox to Connor Hayden. Is there a cherry on top here for the Rosebuds? Pappas from distance took a deflection and almost landed in the bottom corner. Will be a corner for the visitors. So Western have scored a late goal, and it means at the moment, as it stands, they're at the top of the table. Incredible, as Nathan Archbold takes that. And Q Yallian's side are flying high at this point. 3 wins and 1 defeat. They lost to Hamilton in the opening round. Since then, they've won 3 straight. And who would have thought Western, top of the table, after a few lean years. As Cal Lewis. Is there a late opportunity for Charlestown to get themselves back into the match? Well, that's the afternoon for Charlestown. It's been that kind of day. Reen Ferguson pushes it wide. And after 4 matches without a win, the Rosebuds finally have 3 points to savour, and they will feel like gold. And while that win only moves them up into 8th place, they're 4 points outside the top 4. And they just started with a little more desire than the Blues. 2-0 up at the break. Charlestown fought back in the second half. And then Liam Ryan put the result beyond doubt, making it 3-1 with his first goal in the NPL. Full time at Lyle Carr Oval. Charlestown City Blues 1. Adamstown Rosebud 3. And Chris Turner, we've got a special guest with us up here in the stands. I'll let you take over. You've got Chris Berlin.
Yeah, thanks, Bart. We've been lucky enough to get Chris Berlin come and join us this afternoon. Berlin's a little bit tight here, but congratulations on a great result. This effort this afternoon, personally, I didn't see it coming. Been a few in the row where you haven't got off well, 4 in fact. What was the difference today between today and the other weeks?
Today was virtually the same as last week. We just didn't get the points against Magic. I thought, we did deserve a point. We went out with the same formation, but hard work. And I think the first couple of games we did deserve a couple of, a point every now and then. But we've got a young squad, and just discipline the last 2 games has showed, and it's come through today. Yeah. So this shape that you're talking about, 4 across the back, 5 through the middle, and yourself at the point. Yep. Is it something you're working hard on at training? Like how much effort and energy is going to get that right? We do work on it virtually every training session. There we do a bit on it. Actually, the coach Shane, quality defender of his time, so he's got us pretty disciplined for defence. It's a bit tough on myself, up front by myself, but today wasn't my best game holding it up. But if I can get all that right, the game should go our way pretty much all the time. But our goal is to really sit and then press, because we're just a young squad, and we try to go toe to toe with these quality teams. We just maybe 2 or 3 year time, 2 or 3 years time, we might be like that. But you've got to, we've got the cards. Play with the cards we've got, really. Yeah, and sit and press is a good way to put it. I was calling it like a counter-attack, probably a bit more traditional, but a sit and a press, and that's exactly what it looked like. But it looked organised. One of the things that Charlestown seemed to find it difficult to do was break beyond the lines. And you had an overload in the middle of the park. Mentioned quite a few times in commentary where they had a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, but weren't able to actually get beyond you too often. And Hayden and Sokolsky were able to get wide for you and attacking at goals, which seemed to make a big difference in your support. Yeah, definitely, mate. They got engines, as you've seen. Matty Sokolsky was he had a sniper and bazooka on him all day today, and but yeah, the main focus was trying not to let him get through the middle of the park. Our middle 5, just so they couldn't get them little through balls through the middle to Goody or someone like that, but to keep it as wide as possible. But we broke pretty well, and we always do break pretty well, and they're pretty quality on the ball as well. So. And they can finish. Well, that's a really good start to your first victory, because there's something very much there in place. And congratulations for today, and good luck as we go ahead. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Thanks, mate.
Well, CT, I don't know, that was a combination of Chris and CT. But let's wrap it up here from Lower Car Oval. I'll get alongside you. Thanks to everyone for watching. Next week we're actually back here, Charlestown and Maitland. Tell me your thoughts on that one. Charlestown obviously stinging after this result, and Maitland yet to win.
Yeah, look, I watched the Maitland game last night, which you wouldn't have done because you've been relegated to the A-League. But on that game, look, Maitland will feel that they have got a point to prove now. That Bolch won't be happy, Coach Mike Bolch, and this side here at Charlestown in the same deal. So it'll be a cracker up here next weekend, that's for sure.
Well, we look forward to your company then. Thanks for your company this afternoon. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for that, Brianna. Thank you.
No, you're all right.
Yeah, after yesterday, that Yeah, it was a cracker. Who's that? And you've got the bloody stats guy. You've got the market. we got there. Yep. Where are you parked at?